Hi, so today I want to talk to you about how I got into tech or IT without a tech degree. So a little bit of a backstory. I'm currently a product manager. I've been a project manager as well in the past, but my story is that I actually studied costume at university. So I do have a degree, but it is definitely not obviously tech related or even business related. It was totally different. I did a year before that in college, and again that was like an arts foundation kind of year, so it was a mix of like graphic design and woodworking and all sorts. Anyway, so I initially got into costume and realized that the pay was really bad and a lot of people wanted you to work for free. So I really thought this just isn't going to be for me. I'm just like, long term I just don't want to be in that kind of field. And so what I did is I actually initially started getting work in administration, and during the administration I would look at processes. Like naturally I would kind of go, okay, well this is what we're doing as a process. I started with a startup company that was actually doing earthquake repairs, and they had like no documentation at all. So even early on in my kind of career, which was in my 20s, I started documenting like training material, and then that would be distributed out because basically people would come and wouldn't have any idea about how anything worked or what the companies did. So even early on I started kind of doing that kind of work, and then I basically saw that the easiest way to start getting in this was basically just started upskilling. So at the time there was free courses, so I could actually do Excel for free, and then I think it was Publisher at the time, and I mean I already knew how to use Word, so that got me another kind of admin role. And then I got employed in a role where I basically had to know basic Excel skills. So that was demand planning. And then during that particular role, I was there 3 years and I started working more and more on projects. And they had a very small project team that was like a 2-man band, and I just started enjoying this even more and more, and I kind of knew things were changing at my work. So I then started doing more short courses, and I mean very short courses. I actually literally went onto LinkedIn and I thought I wanted to be a business analyst, so I started doing these short courses in business analysis. And then I realized that if I wanted to move into IT, then it would probably be a good idea to learn Agile as well. So in that time I was getting more experience. I then moved into another role in customer experience, and again learning about analysis and reporting. But as I was obviously going, I just started learning more and more. But then I really wanted to break into like a tech company, and what I did was I actually networked a huge amount. So I left that customer experience role and I literally increased my salary by $30,000 by 3 months later, from that customer experience role to then moving in tech. And what I did was I networked like crazy. So everyone I knew, I obviously connected with them on LinkedIn. I reached out to people I knew saying, hey, do you know anyone who's a business analyst? Can I meet up with them? And they would connect with me with people. And I would literally just say, hey, can I meet up with you? This is obviously pre-COVID times. Can I meet up with you and buy you a coffee and just learn more about what you do? And I did that again and again and again and again in that 3-month period, because I was just trying to build connections at that point, going, do I want to do business analysis? Is this what I want to do? I then would connect with other people about different kind of roles and go, is that something I'd enjoy doing? Or, you know, I was just kind of figuring stuff out at that point. And basically all that networking, by the end of the 3 months, it got, one company had a sister company, and they said, oh, well, we don't actually have a job. But they already obviously met me because I'd gone and met up with them and had a chat with them about the career. So they knew me. They knew that I could communicate and that I was really keen to kind of move into this space. And they said, oh, but our sister company has a job. And then I got my first 6-week contract in IT. And now what I did was I worked my ass off to get a really good reference from that company, which was obviously like a tech company. I started seeing how the agile ceremonies were done, and it basically set me up to get my next contract role. So then I got my next contract role, which was actually 12 months, and I negotiated that salary as well for the 12 months. And then that was my first 6-figure role that I got, and it was for 12 months. And I learned a lot then. I actually trying to remember when I did my Agile course. I actually think I did it either during that time of having that IT job or before then, I did an agile product owner job. I actually think I did it after my 12-month contracts. Bit fuzzy, so around the details, but I basically got that 12-month contract and then I stayed with the company and got a next 12-month contract, and that basically set me up then, because now I had over 2 years experience in like a tech company to then get my next roles after that. And what I realized is if you go into like a project manager type role, you can actually do a lot of crossover skills from like other jobs. So if you are an administrator, you can actually start doing kind of projects. And that's how I kind of broke in without a tech degree. Obviously I did some other courses as well alongside, but again, like I said, they were part-time, short-time courses. Even the agile course that I did pay for that. It was quite expensive, but it showed that I was serious about being in product and that I had agile knowledge and I didn't have to get any company to train me up. That was only 1 week. And even the BA courses, I did 2 BA courses. One again was like part-time. It took me like a couple of months to do. And actually the best course that I did after those courses was in LinkedIn. There was like a product manager course. Again, it was really not very expensive at all. I can't remember at the time, maybe it was like $50 or something. And that really set me up to understand how a product manager is. So I started in projects, so you can become like a project coordinator with those crossover skills, but you can start going into a job like I did and start getting the experience and understanding how projects work. And then you just kind of like, then you can progress on to being like product, and then like I was like a product owner and then product manager. And that is how I eventually moved into being a product manager now. So to give you a bit of a timeline, I would say that took me about 10 years. That sounds really long now I'm saying it, but obviously I have been working now in tech for quite a few years now. So I mean, it probably, like I said, initially it took me 3 months from moving to like a customer experience role to then like 3 months later getting this like proper tech career kind of role. Again, even with the customer experience, like I'd really only had before then like this demand planning, so working with a company, and again a lot of those skills are kind of crossing over. You need to learn how to use communication software. And again, you can go on YouTube, you can start looking at the software yourself and learning it before ahead of time. So something I would do would be like looking at a job role and going, okay, so they're asking for a project manager role. What skills are they looking for? Okay, they're looking for good communication. Do you know how to compose an email? Do you know how to be professional? Do you know how to like update people on all sorts of levels? Then you want to start looking at different tools. So you start wanting to look at like Jira, or there's DevOps or Teams or Slack. They're all kind of like communication tools or project management tools. So this is all stuff, if you're kind of interested in these kind of jobs, you can just literally start looking at job descriptions and go, okay, what kind of software are they asking for? Okay, you want to move into UX, you want to look at Figma, for example, and start playing around with it, using it yourself, start creating your own portfolio. Again, that's something else. Another little short course that I did was UX. So I kind of started building up my skills over like the few years, so like obviously have a bit more kind of broad-based knowledge without having to be like a coder. And to be honest, when I've done like UAT testing before for developers, you can actually just start looking at the code and kind of just start working it out yourself anyway. So, you know, I got to a point where I could like look at some code and go, oh, that looks like a bit of a mistake there, is that right? You know, and I mean, you just really have to, I mean, they're the SMEs, you're just working alongside the SMEs. So SME is subject matter expert as well. So there are a lot of acronyms in the business, but again, if you just use Google, you can kind of start learning this stuff and start immersing yourself and educating yourself. Like, don't expect to just go into a role where they're going to teach you everything. Just try and be proactive. Like, YouTube is your friend. Start seeing how these tools are used and what they look like. I mean, for example, a free tool you can download is Asana, which is a project management kind of tool. Not a lot of the big tech companies will use it, but if you get an idea of how to create a ticket, how you move it across in like processes, these are all kind of skills that you can actually build up without paying thousands of dollars for a course or trying to get years of experience or begging people to give you a chance. Yeah, that's a bit of my backstory about the realistic view of how I moved into the tech space without doing a tech degree. I hope you like this. Don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for more content.